our flavor is
minty after.
Go ahead, talk.
I'm sorry.
Talk about the tea of the day before we've announced it, Jamie. Please.
Should give a little, comment down below if you can guess based upon Jamie's nice little spoiler. Can you comment it? Okay. It's mint medley. Thanks for spoiling it. But anyways, welcome.
I'll just get it now.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're fired. Get out.
Today.
We fired Anna earlier.
So it's just Corinne and I.
Look at behind the
You
scenes. You want to
So today we're going to be talking about religion.
Okay.
In honor of...
Speaking of you guys fighting about religion,
That was
actually.
a spoon.
Hey, I was going to
okay,
holy
anyway.
cheese joke.
Okay. But like, since you guys were like dueling with spoons, a lot of wars back in the day
Crusades.
actually over religion.
Yeah.
It caused a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Even worse in more recent times, there's still
Yeah.
religious aspects to it.
We just got done. Studying World War II in my U.S. history class. Obviously, that has a lot to do with religion. But the thing is, what people like, it was Nazis not only obviously what the main focus was against Jewish people. Terrible, awful.
Never okay.
I can't even there's no words that can express how awful that absolute genocide was. But there, it was also anyone who wasn't Protestant. It wasn't just, it was people who, what I found odd was Hitler would favor people who were blonde and blue-eyed. He wasn't blonde, first of all, and I don't think he had blue eyes, because anyway, that's a little bit of a tangent, but Hitler's an awful person. Everyone knows that. Moving on.
Straight facts.
Yeah.
Should we go around and say our personal religious affiliations?
Yeah.
Because we stated earlier, we know we're all white. We know we're all middle class girls from Washington. So.
Yes.
Yeah. So I personally don't really associate myself with religion very much, just because I just have the feeling, I've never felt that connection, and so it's more just I've always thought, is it real? That's always just been my point of view, and I do believe that when you die, your soul goes somewhere, but I don't know where.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's just sort of my point of view on it. I don't know if God is necessarily real, but I believe that there's something there.
Yeah.
If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. I identify as Christian. I definitely am not, I don't go to church every Sunday, and I don't do that kind of stuff. I did when I was younger. I was raised that way. A little bit, my dad isn't too religious. My mom's a little bit closer to the religious side. So it's been kind of a balance of that kind of stuff. A fun story, actually. My mom was dropping me off for Sunday school, but it was the first Sunday of the month, so I went to communion alone. I sat by really nice old people. It was great. They're nice, but my mom still feels bad about that today, and it's really funny. I had fun. I mean, these people were nice. They told me which bread to get. I almost got the whole wheat bread, but nope, that was not, nope. Anyways.
certain types of breads.
Yeah, get on it. They didn't give me wine, they gave me grape juice, but it's fine. It's fine, I guess. I'm still petty.
I mean, you were a child.
Yeah, but listen.
But
Hear me out, though.
We don't condone underage drinking, but
Anyways, but yeah, I'm not a strict Christian. Specifically, I'm Presbyterian. But there's so many branches of Christianity, so I don't expect a lot of people to know that, what Presbyterian is. And I'm not even sure if I fully follow that, but I just I literally call myself a chill Christian.
Yeah, okay, that works.
Yeah.
I consider myself a very liberal Christian. So I do attend church every Sunday. I am a youth group leader for 5th graders at my church.
Ooh.
I volunteer with the 4th and 5th graders. They're called Bridge. They're super great. They're really energetic in the morning. So yeah, I do that. I went on a mission trip to Puerto Vallarta last year with my church, and I've done a few programs like that with through my church. And so I don't agree with everything the church says, and I'm reading the Da Vinci Code right now, which let me tell you, that's a wild ride.
It's a roller coaster.
It's really a roller coaster.
It really is.
So I've always had those questioning thoughts. I've been like, okay, well, why do I believe what I believe? Because my dad grew up Catholic, and then my mom was non-denominational Christian like myself, and so we're kind of like you said, like a chill Christian family. Like, certain members of my family don't necessarily go to church every day or don't strongly believe it, but like, we pray for each other. We talk about it sometimes. It's an open thing in our house, but it's not necessarily pursued. I try to pursue it because I really, like, I know what it's felt like to like feel that move like deep within my soul, as weird as that might sound to some people, that like I know it's there, and I want to understand the history of it better, so I can like better make decisions, because it's hard, because some people come up and they ask you a question about religion, you're like, man, I don't know, and they're like, oh, so like it didn't happen. I'm like, no, because like there are like true things that did happen, that like there's things in the Middle East like where Jesus was that prove it, and so it's really like it's the facts are there.
It's really just, I find religion to just like contradict the science a lot, and so I always see those two on opposite ends of a spectrum. Like
and we had a science teacher come in and speak to us about science and Christianity, and the two blend together much better than you would think. I'd love like research it. I need to research it a little more. I had notes on it a while ago, but it's really fascinating because there are like historians that have found artifacts, and they're like, oh, this is, and like the Dead Sea Scrolls and stuff like that. So I personally believe it. But yeah, there's a lot of things that like I can still learn more about.
And definitely see your point of view though.
And I've 100% questioned my faith. 100%.
I wish that I like believed in it a little bit more than I did. Like just to sort of know what it's like to feel like a miracle's happening, or like
that's the thing too, where it's like I definitely believe, but I haven't felt like anything like that,
and it's so different for every person. Like some people actually get like visions from God, some people like actually hear God speak, and that's never happened for me. I've just like felt like a deep stirring like somewhere within myself. So it's different. But
what about you?
So I, similar to you, I didn't really grow up in like in a religious household. I don't really associate myself with any specific part of religion. I completely like respect
100%
religion though, minus like hateful parts of religion, which we will discuss later. But to me, I've always kind of considered religion to be, I find that a lot of people find comfort in their beliefs.
Exactly.
And I think that's honestly really beautiful.
Yeah.
And because like in the world that we're living in, there is so much there's bad stuff. There's a lot of good in the world, and it's important to recognize the good, but there's a lot of bad things that happen in the world. And I think for a lot of people, religion is what keeps them comforted, and they find hope in that. And I think that is so important.
Exactly. That's exactly what I think. But I also think that people use religion. No, I don't want to say an excuse, because that has like a negative connotation.
But like
to it.
some people.
But if someone makes it through a hard time, they always turn to God. And they're like, I'm so grateful that, and like I'm so blessed that He was there to help me through it. And like sometimes I don't see that. I'm like, but you kind of did that yourself, and I wish that you would give yourself more credit for that. Because like it's hard to get through things, and like I understand why people do say that, because like I've never felt that. I don't know what that feels like, to feel like you've been pulled out of something from a higher being than yourself.
Right.
But I don't know.
I saw this doctor. His name is Dr. Mike on YouTube. Look him up if you have never heard of him. He's great.
Dr. Mike.
Wow, was that planned? Anyway.
Pinkies up.
Pinkies up, ladies.
Oh my God. Okay. Anyways, moving on. Dr. Mike. His channel is very educational while also being very funny. He was talking. He's like reacting to this picture. Like someone sent him this comment or something. I don't remember exactly the connotation of it, but it was like when the patient thanks God when surgeons have been staying up for 36 hours to do the surgery, and like things like that, where it's like,
And that's what I see with my personal views, is that like surgeons and like God can work through people.
Yeah, no,
Like,
yeah,
like
absolutely.
surgeons, God can work through a surgeon to like make sure that, in my personal view, again, that like things go well and things happen. And I believe like not everyone, but like some people are like, God never like answered this prayer. God isn't real. God isn't there. And it's like, what I've always been taught in church is that God answers things in his own timeline, and we only get to see like a small puzzle piece of what's going on. We never get to see the big picture. So like I personally believe everything happens for a reason, and coincidences just aren't a thing. Like everything is supposed to be the way it is.
That's something that I try so hard to believe in, like so hard. And like I said, like I am religious, and it's hard for me because there's been some circumstances in my life that it's hard to believe that things have happened for a reason when certain occurrences happen.
Exactly. Like
And it's difficult because like I've been taught that my entire life as well, and my mom tells me that all the time, and she was like she's always tells me let go and let God. So like things like that where it's like just trying to navigate through that is hard. And the thing is, not only with I'll keep in mind that our perspective as God is one thing, but people who may be Muslim, people who are Buddhist,
Jewish,
people who are Jewish.
Buddhism.
Yeah, I think
Hinduism.
And there's so much like aspects of different culture. For example, today was it Holi? It's part of I'm not pronouncing.
Is it the Muslim New Year?
No.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's Hinduism. It's the color festival. You know, it was just today. Have you? I'm not sure.
I've heard of it for sure.
I was
Really
driving.
not familiar with that.
I was driving through Bellevue, and basically, I'm not sure. The thing is, I want to learn why I bring that up is because I want to know the cultural connections behind it.
Absolutely.
Because it's like the only reason I know what it is, which sucks. The only reason I know why it is because in middle school we were doing a color run and we bought like the Holly powder.
Yeah.
I'm severely apologize if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I am not part of that culture.
And one of the things, especially with this, because we are all either like don't consider ourselves religious or consider ourselves Christian. If you are Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, please share your opinions on like God and the afterlife, like we were talking about. Like just like I'd love to learn more because like history class in high school only teaches me so much, and not having that personal experience.
Yeah, it was a 2-week unit.
Yeah.
Religion.
2 weeks.
That is not enough.
That's not enough to cover world religion. And then there's
And
also
then
like
really
pagan religions. There's like things that I don't even know exist.
And even if
yet.
you do have like a unit, they never show
They don't
necessarily
show everything.
the point of view from the culture.
They always do like an outside.
Like the history.
Yeah.
And I think we were like taught like to memorize their like point of what they worship, like the
like how many
the Confucius. Like the rules. We're not meant to like. We're never told to like, understand a perspective as much as the facts.
Or the 7-step plan, like things like. And it sucks. I learned that. I don't remember any of it.
Oh yeah.
Like I have certain like remembrances of certain cultures, and I know certain points are like I know my very very close friend. She's Jewish, and it's like their temple will like do trips to Israel, so like as like a cultural like just to learn their culture and that
Like
kind
a
of stuff.
spiritual trip.
Yeah, kind of. And I don't know exactly the connotations of like what exactly they do, but it's because that's also like personal to them, and things like a bat mitzvah or just cultural traditions like that. I feel like are very people, and it's okay not to know all of like parts of culture. I don't know a good amount of parts of culture. But it's important to respect them. You know, you can't go to someone's like bat mitzvah. Like I've heard people say before, I just want to, go to the. And the thing is, it's for 13-year-olds, but I've heard like ranchy like comments like, oh, I just want to go for the party. Literally, I've heard that. Where it's like that's like a cultural like it's important.
It's really disrespectful.
That's such a rite of passage for them.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal.
And I remember watching and like I never watched her like practice, but like she'd always have like Tuesday school where she would go and practice reading the Torah and like things like that where it takes a lot of work. Like, and people don't respect that. And it's like things like people don't respect hijabs, which is another huge thing.
That is a huge topic in itself.
And to bring something on addressing the Muslim culture, I'm not at this point right now, on March 23rd, it's been 2 weeks, a week since a shooting of a Muslim church in New Zealand, Christchurch. I think it's 50 people have died now. I think the count is up to 50. It was 49, but I think one just passed away. That is unspeakable, and it's never okay. But I want to talk about the positive connotation of what New Zealand has done. People on newscasters have worn hijabs for the past few days. And I don't know, I don't think that's offensive as for the Muslim culture to wear a hijab if they're not cultural, if it's
correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah.
Please do.
Yes.
It's a sign of respect.
Review.
I haven't, when I've been researching it, I haven't seen any negative responses by Muslims. Again, if that is wrong, let us know. But I do personally, I see that as a sign of respect at wearing a hijab. I've seen their prime minister comfort people, and it's not just I'm sorry. You can see the pure empathy in her face.
It's not for political gain. It's for serious. We need to fix this. This should not be a thing that is occurring.
And you know what they did? I've seen somebody joking tweets America can never, because they banned
the day after.
Yeah, it was
the day after the shooting.
Semi-automatic, correct? Semi-automatic weapons.
I believe so.
So I just want to with culture and religion, it's hard, and I want to show that I want to talk about how New Zealand responded so well to that.
Yeah.
Whereas America's over here, having travel bans.
Yeah.
And
that's not helping anything.
No.
I
would say it's making it worse.
Yeah.
Isolating will only make people more angry.
Yeah, and we're not necessarily against things that we don't understand, but it's harder for us because we don't understand it, so we might fear it. We only have specific media outlets telling us what we know about it. So if I don't personally know anyone Muslim, I'll only see the stereotypes of all Muslims are terrorists, which is absolutely not true.
Yeah.
I've talked with teachers who have studied abroad in Morocco, and they've talked about how peaceful the Muslim actions are and how life-changing their experience was, because again, it's the same with the neo-Nazis and stuff. It's people who are oh, you're white, you must be racist. Oh, you're a Muslim, you must be a terrorist. It's absolutely not. That was one person doing one thing, which has now what's the word? Which has now
Exploded.
which has now encompassed an entire ethnic group. And that's totally not okay, because the individual should not be held responsible for the entire culture.
And people could do that just as easily for white people as a reminder, because who's the primary perpetrator and attacker for school shootings? White males.
Yeah.
But you don't see people trying to make an enemy out of Caucasians.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah.
Can we talk about that? Why? Let us know. Why do you think that? Is that just because that's so ingrained into our system? Is it just us? Is it multiple? Do people in Europe think the same way? Do people in Africa think the same way?
Yeah. So on the flip side of someone hating on a church, there is a church that hates on the people.
That's so.
The West Baptist, I believe, is the organization.
Yeah, they're the church.
They actually came outside of the school that I attend, and
really,
Whoa.
Really?
they had a protest outside the school that I attend.
Wow.
Because we are a big school downtown, very, very large, and then they were having signs that were saying gay is not okay.
The people who are
all of
repent
these
or you're
things.
going to hell, and it's
and I'm so thankful to go to the school where I go, because we have a skywalk from one building to another, and we put out this huge poster that just said "Love is love."
Yeah.
It was
I
amazing.
love that.
Yeah, and so I've always had sort of a question, because I am not religious in any way.
Gladly answer
what-
your question.
Because I've heard so many things of like, God accepts everyone, but God hates gays.
Right.
But
Okay.
how can you tell me that being gay is the same sin as killing someone? Like, that's what I don't understand. Is how,
And I think that
how
as
is
someone
that
who's not
equal?
religious, like,
yeah.
it's confusing because,
Yeah.
like, I
It's
don't have a
confusing to
religious
me as
background.
well, I promise.
Yeah.
What were you
Yeah,
finish what you were
no.
saying?
I
Like-
want to hear from, like, you guys
Yeah,
because you
my-
do follow Christianity.
Yeah, my personal belief as a Christian is that our mission is to love like Christ. We are not supposed
Love
to
thy
judge.
neighbor.
We are not supposed, like, we as humans have no right to judge. Like, we're so good at it. It's so ingrained in us as humans, like, because, you know, if you're in a dangerous situation, you want to be able to judge that it's dangerous, but then we apply that to other humans, and that's where it becomes a problem, because we make snap judgments before getting to know each other. You know, the
Yeah.
stereotype, like reading a book by its cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, personally, I support the LGBTQ community because I think it's so important, because they are our peers, they are around
Yeah.
us, we have to protect them. Like, love like Christ. And so
Yeah.
the people who are like, repent or you're going to hell, you have to be respectful of other people's religions. And one of the great things that was taught to me through my church is that, like, you know, we can share our faith respectfully, and we can bring these ideas out and be like, hey, this is what I believe and this is why. But, like, God takes it from there. Like, you can't convert anyone. You
Yeah.
can't
You
be
shouldn't try to.
No,
Yeah.
that's not respectful. And so my personal belief is love like Christ and just show unconditional.
So
It's hard too. It's so hard, but
So
show
you keep-
unconditional love.
you keep saying love like Christ,
Yeah.
but I watch Queer Eye on Netflix,
Yeah.
and I know that they talk a lot about the time how they all sort of came from a religious background, or at least a few of them, and then they were hated by their church,
And that's what.
which is why I'm always so confused
Yeah.
of
There are branches of Christianity, and that's why there are branches.
Yeah, it's like the best way it was described to me was like the trunk of Christianity is like non-denominational, and then there's like Catholic and Protestant and like all these different segments.
okay.
That like
There's you know, and the thing is, my church has publicly made statement like we support LGBTQ plus, and that's like no, and it's hard, just like how one person who is Republican may support Trump or may not. Think of it kind of like that, maybe.
Okay.
It's like it's you believe different things, and it's not necessarily like one thing versus another.
it's all this. It's all kind of the same, but like ball of belief. But people choose to like zero in on specific parts.
Yeah.
Or, like they make a priority of certain parts
Okay.
more than others.
And that's what cults do, like religious cults.
Like
no, I'm sorry that that's random, but like religious cults will say, would you quit? Okay, religious cults take one little sentence or one word from the Bible and go, like I swear.
Yeah, okay, so I am also, and I don't want to diss religion, obviously, I respect it very much, but I've always wondered, I've always come from the background of it's just a book.
Yeah.
Same how like
Yeah.
Poseidon like has his book, and like, so why do people follow this one where there's such specific rules and everything in it, instead of
Well, it's a joint. It's perspective of the disciples.
Yeah.
So it's not just like one person. It's like a.
And honestly, there's 4 books in the New Testament by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and that's called the Gospel. And so it's 4 people who saw Jesus Christ walk the earth, and like they witnessed it themselves, and they wrote down the things they saw, the things he did, like the things he said, and that's like people, as far as I know, like, you know, like I said, loving like Christ, kind of base off of that. And a lot of it, like a lot of the Old Testament is like history of what happened, and like
Yeah.
ways people believe God showed up, like in Abraham, in all these different people's lives. And then, you know, the question of accountability does come in, because it was 2,000 years ago. It's like, how do we know it's true?
We don't.
A lot of it is faith. I mean, there's some factual parts to it, like some parts of the Ark were believed to be found in some places. There's the Dead
Noah's
Sea
Ark.
Scrolls.
okay.
Yeah. Sorry. And then yeah, it's honestly a lot of faith, and it's also perspective.
I've just always been so confused because
Yeah,
I always
That's
hear
okay to be
the
confused.
the
Ten Commandments.
and it's like I just still don't see how like cursing is again the same as like murder, but then I always hear, but like I always hear people say that God is always forgiving.
Exactly.
So
It's so confusing because there were the apostles who like misinterpreted the word of God to like further benefit themselves. It's, you know, how people do that today even. They take the word of God and they're like, it's okay because the Bible said, and it's like, I think one of the most important things is that the Bible was written 2,000 years ago, but we also have to interpret it as it was today, because it should be an evolving book. It should be applicable to today, and some of the stuff isn't applicable. There's some weird stuff
Like sacrificing
in the Bible.
animals.
Yeah,
and
we don't do that anymore. And there, some just quick history. I think it was about 2,000 years ago. Like the only way to talk to God was behind this veil in the church, behind this huge curtain. And if you weren't like clean, like purified in your soul as well as like outwardly, you would drop dead the second you like walked behind this curtain. So people tied ropes to their ankles in case they dropped dead, and you had to pull this person out. And so that veil was torn, and now people can like pray and have the personal relationship with God, not like through another person.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it, a
It's
lot
hard
of it
to
is
explain.
history and faith, and I'm definitely not a religious professional, so I'd say like find a pastor or find a priest or
read it. There's so many books.
yeah,
And that's the thing where it's like with religion,
analyzing.
there's so many different aspects to every single religion. We may have focused a bit on Christianity because that's the only religion we have experience with. So why don't you comment below? Educate us.
Please.
I don't want to speak on it.
I want to know so much more. Like I've
Yeah.
always been so
Your
curious.
It's really fascinating.
But I've always been so curious of like why people are so drawn to this
exactly.
like, belief. And
Do
this
you have a
humanist-
story? Do you have the stirring that Jamie has felt? You know, let us know
Yeah,
because
I honestly want to hear like what made you feel it. How did you know? Like
And it's
that
so
you had
weird
that
because
connection.
everyone I've talked to has been completely drastically different. And just one thing I want to close with is like, I think America is so great because one of the building blocks of our nation is that we have Muslims, we have Christians, we have all these
we are
different
so
we have all these
diverse.
different people, and
we are a melting
diverse.
pot.
Yeah. And so let's continue that and let's respect that.
Yeah.